morning, YouTube. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day out there. Welcome to another episode of Life with Brian. I am in my 2003 Ferrari 360 Modena. Just dropped off my son at school and wanted to shoot a quick video with the car. I'm not in this car very much. Maybe, well, you know, it was in the shop for like almost a year. But before that, I'd probably drive it maybe once every 5-6 months. This was actually one of my, I think my second, I would say my second supercar. My first was my 2003 NSX, which I, definitely, it is and was a supercar of its time. This, of course, was a supercar as well. But yeah, I had my NSX first, and I got this one maybe about not a year, maybe like 2 years after my NSX. So I've had it a good amount of time. I definitely get a lot of enjoyment driving this car. The one thing I do not like about the car is the F gear. I think it's called the F gear transmission. It's a single clutch. It is kind of, it kind of lurches and it's a little bit clunky. I don't think it's as bad as actually the E gear in my Gallardo, but I've been thinking about doing a manual swap. And actually, someone who I found has a pretty good price point for those is, ironically enough, another YouTuber. I'm sure you guys have heard of Normal Guy Supercars. They do it. It's like 20 grand or something like that, but they'll do the manual conversion for you, and that's without having to replace the clutch. It's a little bit cheaper, which I've had the clutch replaced in this, I think maybe about a year and a half ago, so it definitely doesn't need a new clutch anytime soon, I hope. But so really the only thing I don't enjoy about this car is the transmission, and even that is not that bad. Like I told you, the Gallardo is a lot worse, so I drive the Gallardo even less than I drive my 360, but I like the interior, really love the leathers. I mean, Ferrari always does a fantastic job on the leather. And I mean, even for an early 2000s car, I mean, Ferrari interiors are always very nice, very high quality. I got the sticky button issues fixed a couple years back, so everything basically looks and feels pretty much brand new. I love driving this car because out of all my cars, it gives me the most accurate, or if you guys have ever ridden go-karts before, like a lot of people say, oh, this car, that car feels like a go-kart. This car, more than any car I own, feels like a go-kart, more than my NSX, more than anything, and in a totally good way. It literally feels like you're in a go-kart, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It's yeah. Sorry guys, as I was saying, yeah, it gives you the feeling of you're driving a go-kart, a very expensive go-kart at that. But it's very easy to drive. It's actually a lot easier to drive than, or feels even easier to drive in a lot of ways than my Ford GT. Definitely easier to drive than my Gallardo. I actually don't know how much this weighs, but it doesn't feel very heavy at all. It feels pretty nimble, feels pretty light on its feet. It's just a fun car to drive, and actually it's one of those rare cars where you don't have to drive fast. And in a way, I kind of liken it to my NSX. You don't have to be going like at a super high rate of speed to be enjoying it. I was actually taking my son to school this morning. We were going like 65 miles per hour. Everyone was passing us, but it didn't feel like I was going slow. Maybe because I'm in a red Ferrari, but I just did not feel like I was going slow. And it's just a lot of fun to drive this car because of the go-kart feel, because you don't have a lot of the, like, I love the steering wheel on this car, which may sound kind of weird, guys, but like you'll notice there's nothing on that steering wheel except for the horn, which I think after this car, the 430, the 458, 48, all the Ferraris after, it's just buttons everywhere, buttons, gadgets, just tech. And I like the fact that this car is not that. It's very kind of, it's just before that shift to, you know, thousands of buttons on the steering wheel and just everything just teched out, which is what I really respect about McLarens. I don't know if this has changed recently, but I remember watching a video not too long ago where one of the engineers or someone in the higher ups of McLaren was saying they never basically want anything on the steering wheel other than the horn, because just busy gets in the way, and again, the steering wheel is all about driving, and I completely agree with that. Because a lot of times in my other cars, I constantly am like fiddling around, like, wait, is this the volume? Is this the, you know, what is this control? And you just sometimes you just want to just drive. Just give me the horn. That's all I need. But I like the fact that this car is simple in that way. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have, obviously, it doesn't have any of the tech or the creature comforts that a lot of the modern Ferraris have. You know, the headlights on the 360 obviously are a little bit dated, to be sure. If I were to, you know, I think kind of the perfect middle ground for me, at least, would be kind of like just the front end of the 430 with those headlights, but then everything else on the 360, the interior, everything else. I really like the way the 360 looks. Well, I cannot think of the name of the designer. You guys know who I'm talking about. But the designer who designed this car, I think it was the last Ferrari that they did a fantastic job. And yeah, the car just, from maybe not from the front because of the headlights, but from every other angle, it does not look dated. It looks like basically any other Ferrari, especially in the red color. It just has aged incredibly well. I love the way this 360 looks. It still looks. And yeah, I like driving this car. I like having this car. I was like, what's the point of this video, right? I like this car. It's not because I couldn't afford or can't afford a 430 or 458 or 488. I just like this car. Now, of course, if someone were to give me a 458 or something, right, would I fight them? No. But honestly, if you were to say, you know, I'd have to give up my 360, I wouldn't trade it in. I wouldn't give it up. I like having a 360. And that may sound weird because a lot of people think that, or they view the 360 as kind of the entry-level Ferrari, the poor man's way of getting a Ferrari. And, you know, maybe when I got this car, like, gosh, now it's been about 5-6 years ago, it was kind of, definitely a feeling out, because I'd never owned an Italian exotic before that. I had my NSX, but of course that's a Toyota, I mean that's a Honda, right? So reliability, I never really had any concerns, but I was, you know, pooping, you know what, and scared, you know, whatever, when I got this car, and just, a lot of those fears were well founded, because I don't know if you guys remember, but literally like the first 10 minutes of ownership, I had a check engine light come on, the car died, had to get it towed into the shop. But that aside, ownership experience has not been too bad. But I mean, it's an older Ferrari, so you're gonna have to put up with those issues, guys. And if you're not prepared to save up that amount of money or spend that amount of money, do not get a Ferrari. Certainly don't get a used Ferrari. Don't get an older Ferrari. Don't get a 360. Because I mean, these cars are getting up in age. This car is like, what, 21, 22 years old. And you know, little things are going to pop up here and there. You're going to have to fix them. You're going to have to get obviously the annual maintenance done, which is never cheap. But you get a lot of enjoyment. I get a lot of enjoyment out of driving this car. And like I said, it's not like a concession. It's not like a consolation prize, right? Like I couldn't get a better Ferrari. I actually like the 360. I like the way they look. I like the way they drive. I really like the way they drive, transmission aside. Love the way they look, and I just like that's a simple car. It's a simpler car from a bygone era when it was just about how the car drives, how it feels, and not so much about 0 to 60 time and lap times in Nuremberg and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the speedometer, you know, on this car is 200, but I doubt it, even in it, whatever, like, I think maybe like 180 or something was probably its top speed, but who cares, you know? Yeah, literally, like, even as I'm shooting this video, everyone's passing me right now. It has like 400 horsepower, which again is nothing. You have freaking like Hondas and Kias that make 400 horsepower, so that's definitely no big deal anymore. But it was a supercar of its era. I think it's a it's a sexy looking car. It's a fun car to drive. Not super reliable, but Ferraris in general are not. It's a very comfortable car. The cabin's very nice. Again, the leathers, all the materials are very nice, very high end. Once if you get that sticky button issue, which inevitably you will, you take care of that, and you're good to go. You're squared away. So I don't know if you guys have 360s up there, or if you drive them on a regular basis. I don't drive this on a regular basis. I might feel differently if I had to daily this, but you know, I'm not hauling around TVs like Doug DeMuro did many years ago. But other than that, I really like this car. I enjoy this car. I don't plan on giving it away anytime soon. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any 360s, if you drive them, if you daily drive them, if you have any problems, what are your thoughts? Would love to hear them. Hope you guys like the video. Give it a thumbs up, comment below, like, subscribe. Please support the channel. Hope to catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.